needs to remember that while Chughtai is remembered for her fiction, actually her non-fiction pieces are much more articulate, but also more provocative. And there are many, somehow very few have been translated, and there's been more focus on Lehaf, which she didn't think was her only sort of piece of work. She always thought that there were others which were, and I also feel there's a whole range of her work that is translated. And you said that, you know, she's not recognized enough in Pakistan. I think she's recognized in the literary circles and among people who read Urdu literature. A lot of people who are sitting around don't even read Urdu literature, so there is that. And then, of course, she was an Indian and not a Pakistani, so that makes a difference. So I will now call upon the discussant, Amna, Hafeez, Mobeen. Let me introduce her properly. And thank you, Raza, for being within your time limit. So we'll have more time for discussion. Amna Hafeez Mobeen is currently a lecturer at the Center of Excellence in Gender Studies at Quaid-i-Azam University, Islamabad. Amna has been associated with the center for the last 4 years, where she has been involved in exploring the interplay between gendered, political, and economic dynamics in the mainstream media, with a focus on representation in film and other entertainment media. She has done a postgraduate degree in gender and media from the University of Sussex, UK, and has also done a certificate in social studies from the University of Warwick, UK. Her areas of research interest include feminine dress, that is veiling especially, social power manifestations in contemporary Pakistani society. She has also been involved in activism through her writings on the women's question in an international journal. So, Amna.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you, Raza, for this interesting paper. And the idea is in front of us. Sorry. All clear now? All right. Thank you for the introduction, first of all, Mumtaz. And thank you, Raza, for the interesting paper. And I would dare to say in front of Mumtaz that Raza did the justice to, reiterating this short essay from, the intricacies of Urdu to English. And it was done, the expression was really good as well, so that counts as well. Now, Ismat Chughtai indeed is one of the most subversive, rebellious literary figures in Urdu fiction, who channeled her work onto challenging the status quo of the society, of the social order. Although her writings were banned and criminalized during her lifetime, but she fought and she succeeded in getting her writings, published and read through all over, right? Now, this essay in particular explores the depiction of females from the point of view of the males, or from the point of view of the male ideology, masculine ideology, perspectives and standpoints. So, the women are depicted as symbolic of all kinds of extremes, both heavenly and hellish, where she is a creation lying anywhere between the continuum of being as devilish and as sacred as the God himself. But whatever the situation of woman she is, she's always stated as the other as opposed to the man. Someone who's been written about but who cannot write about herself, who must be described, explained and defined, both her qualities and her weaknesses. Her shape and her form, her nature, all of it requires a man to make it real. So how real are those women if it is men alone who make them real? So it is how a woman is constructed from the vision of the patriarchal mindset, as I just said. It is not only what the woman aspires to be or what she is like actually, but she is a mere reflection of the man's dreams or how he wants her to be like. So he creates her likewise. Determining Chughtai as female Manto is precisely what Chughtai fears herself. Right? So in her short essay that is under discussion over here, she assesses the status of women from the standpoint of masculinity. Now if we compare her with Manto, it is again an attempt to place a female voice of resistance tantamount to her own contemporaries, her male contemporaries. So, in contemporary times, writers such as Chughtai have been successfully marginalized. That's true, as Raza has said, as he started on his discussion with. And they are tucked away into the recesses of the earlier times, on the time, and especially in this contemporary time when everything is taken over by the entertainment industry. So, is it like, are we romanticizing a lot with the classics and we are not trying to look if there is any presence of dissenting voices in the present literature? Or we are just being overwhelmed with lack of acknowledgement for great contributors like Chughtai? Does resistance and its manifestation in any cultural form not exist in present day? Or are we still not celebrating them, just like the way Chughtai's contribution was marginalized in her own time? So in this respect, what causes once heretics to be later commemorated in terms of their great contributions? The point is that, how do we move beyond lamenting the marginalization of writers like Chughtai? Is there a problem in what we see and we don't see as being them rebellious, as being them valuable or subversive around us? And are we fixated because our attachment to the particular historical, cultural era is so strong that we do not even think about what's going on with us in this contemporary time? Perhaps even a kind of cultural elitism which only sees or recognizes writers like Chughtai who belong to a Urdu-speaking middle-class background. Then as we move on, we see that how do we assess the celebration of voices of resistance in the contemporary time? How do we mainstream this genre, and for that matter, how well is the literature of any genre disseminated in the contemporary times? So is it just the subversive literature that is under threat, or it is the literature of any kind that is under threat in today's time? And how do we see cultural imperialism through this new dynamic, through the lens of this new dynamic media sites, the contemporary dynamic media sites? And if visual media, it's just another thought, if visual media, if it's complemented with the literature, so can we make it a guarantee that the literature becomes a success? For instance, what we did with Mantu. Before this film that came up, Mantu was not as celebrated as he is today. Because after that film, Mantu became a household name. So does the visual media has to make its contribution to the literary world? And how the entertainment industry has taken over other avenues of media like books, print media, cultural production, and etc. So while we are remembering the life works and thoughts of writers like Chughtai, it is important to ask the question that what new forms of cultural production are emerging? Where is the dynamism in it or not? How much of it is feminist or opens up space for the production of feminist knowledge? How much of it is not feminist or even anti-feminist? And lastly, I'd like to comment that the classical literature of subversion is under discussion here. But where do as I just said, the dissenting voices, where do they stand? And in that regard, does Qandeel Baloch's rebelliousness or self-liberation exhibit any particular type of, rebelliousness or subversion? Or does it exhibit a novel type of resistance? Or do we have sanitized forms of resistance in our culture? Or for that matter, should Qandeel Baloch be considered a contemporary form of similar rebellion or not? And I think that's much for my comment. And we can have people answering this. We can have Raza answering, or the chair or the panelists as such. Thank you.
Thank you, Amna. I think Raza, by picking up that particular short story of Ismat tried to show her questioning of the dominant way of looking at women, and now your comments, discussion, really brings it to the discussion now. How do we look at feminist writing, especially fiction or non-fiction writing by writers, And no, I decided to see the piece. If you don't mind, because that previous session was done that one. And then we can also have more time. So if you don't mind. Of course you can. Yes, everyone can. So the issue really is of voices of resistance in literature or in other forms of art. Where is their place in our contemporary society? Basically, that's what the issue, I guess, translated as you raised it. That what is the medium in which we can hear those voices and have their impact? And then, of course, there is resistance in society, and we find that it's women poets who show the most, have been much better voices of women's sentiments and situation. But is it really sanitized resistance? And how do we compare it with resistance like that of Khaleeq? I think it's a good point, a good moment to discuss those issues, literature and women's resistance and how it can be or is being portrayed in Pakistan. So the floor is open, and of course the panelists are also free to ask questions or comments. Shall we start with four? There's you and there's